our research assistants that collecting the data was not going to be necessarily an easy thing, like walk out. Some of it was going to be risky, some of this was going to be unsafe, and they had to meet hostile people along the way. So that meant that we had to include our security response team on the ground to accompany our research assistants. So now our security teams have become like bouncers, right? Like they are walking around with our research assistants, and some of them, you should see them, they're not here today, they're like, yay, hi, but like they know how to do the work of protecting our people on the ground. So let's appreciate us. So to the findings, finally we had our data, we had reliable consultants, the analysis started, and some of the findings that came at the beginning was that conversion therapy practices against individuals increased in intensity. So from the moment they discovered, for example, your gender identity or your sexual orientation, things like family talks would start. They'd start slowly. They're like, swachism and stuff. Oh, sorry for people who don't understand Sheng. And then the conversation would escalate to prayers and counseling, and then escalate to violence and economic duress. The second finding that came out at the time was that there was pressure for quick social conformity for respondents who were outed. So the moment you were outed, they were like, tomorrow, we need to get the queer out of you. The third thing that came up was that healthcare practitioners, being most times the first step towards conversion therapy, are getting away with a lot of unethical practices. And sometimes they're even breaking the law. So for example, taking survivors through forced anal exams, which is legal in Kenya right now. And then that sometimes conversion therapy is sought by LGBTIQ plus people themselves. This is the one that broke our hearts, because it was hard to hear that sometimes it's LGBTIQ plus people themselves who go out to look for conversion therapy. We now have our report, and a total of 547 people participated in this study, all between the ages of 18 and 51. The respondents self-identified as having a variety of genders and sexual orientations coming from across the country. The study was conducted in 15 counties based in Rift Valley, Central, Coast, Western, and Nairobi regions of Kenya. So the key takeaways or conclusion for my thing, not for the report, is the power of language. How, at the beginning, we were calling this conversion therapy, and then we moved to calling it conversion practices, and then we started calling it conversion therapy practices. And now, like in some spaces, I've had people calling it SOGI-esque change efforts. All of these to describe the same thing, and how we move back and forth between the different terms and the different phrases, depending on context, depending on the audience, really goes to show how quickly language changes in this work that we do, right? Like, things are not stuck. So that is why, even when things move, so it's okay. Yeah, the second thing is conversion therapy practices is a relatively new term in the organizing in Kenya. When we are doing this work, when we are talking to respondents, when we're talking to practitioners, they don't necessarily call it conversion therapy or conversion therapy practices, but that does not mean that these things are new here. They are happening and they've been continuing to happen. The third thing, it is generally accepted that a person's sexual orientation and or gender identity cannot be changed, and that conversion therapy, regardless of the form in which it's practiced, is harmful. This is also the galck plus position. And finally, other jurisdictions in the world are moving to ban conversion therapy practices in their countries. This is an attempt to protect LGBTIQ plus people from these harmful practices. I'm not saying that this is what Kenya should do, like because now the UK has banned conversion therapy for LGB, even us to go there, that's not what I'm saying. But now that we have research-informed work and evidence, it propels us further in our efforts to build a better legislative terrain in Kenya and to provide a safe and enabling environment for LGBTIQ people in Kenya. So may we never stand in front of a judge who tells us that there's not enough evidence to prove that unfavorable laws directly harm LGBTIQ plus individuals. Because our bodies our lives, people present here today, those gone before us, those violently taken from us, and some of the stories told in this report have proven otherwise. Thank you.